Hello and welcome to a new video. It is very common to see students or people in general, myself included, painting shadows like this. But there is more in shadows that we need to know, and it all starts with light. But before that, let's imagine a planet without sunlight. Well, not that. Without direct sunlight during the day, in an overcast day such as this one. During an overcast day, you basically see the actual colors of the objects, the basic colors. Clouds work as a giant soft light that is applied everywhere on the ground. There is not a big difference between lights and shadows in here. The shadows that we see here are not real shadows. Actually, we see no shadow under these objects. What we see is light occlusion. This is the area where the gap is so small that the small amount of light available in the environment cannot filter through. Because the light is so dim, it will not bounce in this area. But let's enter the sun. With sunlight, we see brighter colors, normally kind of yellowish. We see much contrast between darker colors and lighter colors. And yes, real shadows. But what happened here? Did nature just added darker colors everywhere? Well, I think you already know the answer. Look closer. Yes, take your time. Closer. Okay, too close. Shades and shadows are just the contrast between light areas, most likely generated by the sun and the overcast colors we saw before. There's another question over here. Can shadows be a different color? It is very common to see how very soft and dim light tint shadows and shaded areas. And it's very common to see how the blue of the sky or the translucence on different materials change the natural shadow color to their color. One that is very common is the bluish tone of the sky.
So right here you're going to notice how the shadows under the trees are pretty much a very fair color. But as we get away, you're going to notice the bluish tint the shadows take. Under all the canopy, you will notice how shadows look a fair gray over here. But as we get away to a more exposed area, you're going to notice the bluish tint on the shadows over here.
We're going to conduct a little experiment over here. We're going to try to replicate this situation in the studio.
So I covered my white lamp to make it look a little bit bluish, trying to cover most of the light. Then my other light is going to act as the sun. This is what we see with these light conditions. Some very soft gradients, we still see some light areas and some dark areas, which is normal. And we're going to see an occlusion area under the doll. If we remove the doll from the ground, the shade is going to disappear very quickly, which it means that it's not a real shadow, it's an occlusion shadow. Now let's include the sun. We see how under the same conditions, now we can see some sharper shadows, for example over here on the ear and over here on the wing, and we can see how there is one actual shadow going from the head over the body, and there is some different darker shadows everywhere. We see a big contrast between the light areas and the dark areas. And also we're going to notice how in these conditions the shadow is going to get a bluish tint. As you can see also over here, this shadow is bluish instead of being just a gray shadow like you would see mostly over here.
What we're going to try today is to use this idea to bring light over this overcast picture. And we're going to compare it to the real sunlit picture. Let's see how it goes. I will try to copy the same lights that you see in this picture. First, I want you to keep in mind these occlusion shadows because they're going to remain almost the same until the end of the process. Because sunlight is a warm light, I'm going to represent that by using a white color going to yellow. So we'll start by coloring the toy. I will put this color everywhere where I see the lit area in the real lit reference. Although it is not there, I think it's a nice touch to put some light on the left arm and on the left ear. Now I will continue doing the same process on the ground. Putting some light on the ground is going to create the shadow. I detail by adding smaller shadows, like you see over here on the toes. To help the final look, I'm going to apply overlay over the light that I created. Somehow it feels like a very natural light. And I will apply overlay also to the background. You can notice how this gray area over here looks very much similar to the gray area in the naturally lit picture. And the same happens with the reddish area. We can also dim the shadow with the blue coming from the sky. Our picture is done and we created a very natural light on it. And all we did was including the light. This is basically the same process you follow when you paint your picture. You start with your overcast picture, which in here are just local colors, and then you're going to apply light and you're going to apply darkness to it. Watch this video that uses the same process. I expect this video was useful for you, that you can use it in your own process, that you can add lighter and darker areas under different conditions. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and please, more importantly, share this video with somebody that can find this information useful. See you in the next video. Adios.